So, usually when we interact with artificial intelligence, I feel like we treat it entirely like a digital butler.
Oh, yeah, completely. Just, fetch this,
Like,
summarize that.
right, you type in a prompt like I don't know, a recipe or a summary of a long article or maybe a quick coding fix.
Yeah,
And the AI just, politely hands it over on a silver platter. It's quick, it's clean, but it's incredibly passive.
really is. You ask, it serves.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But if you take that exact same mindset into the realm of like profound personal growth or trying to actually understand the fundamental laws of human society,
That digital butler approach is going to fail completely.
right, it just falls apart.
It creates this completely false sense of understanding.
Yeah.
Like, we mistake the AI's ability to synthesize Wikipedia summaries for actual wisdom.
Wow, yeah, we're consuming knowledge, but we aren't, generating truth.
Exactly. Which actually brings us to the core mission of today's deep dive.
Yes, so today for you listening, we are exploring a framework that completely dismantles this whole dynamic. We're looking at teachings based on something called Jungbub.
Right, Jungbub, which roughly translates to um, right truth or foundational
Yeah.
principles.
And we're going to show you how combining these universal foundational truths with modern AI can actually build a comprehensive roadmap for your entire life.
It's a huge claim, I know.
It is. We're talking about moving from actively arguing with a machine to structuring your own quote unquote education recipe.
I love that term.
Right. And then launching an internet school and ultimately building a whole cultural enterprise on platforms like YouTube to find your destined connections.
Yeah, and that paradigm shift really starts with the very first prompt you type.
Okay, so how so?
Well, the teachings insist that, younger generations in particular need to stop accepting the very first palatable answer that an AI spits out.
Because it's usually just generic. Or, yeah.
Exactly. If you want to uncover foundational truth, you have to use the AI as a philosophical sparring partner.
A sparring partner. I like that.
Yeah, you have to actively research with it. You don't just ask it for answers.
Yeah.
You feed it a foundational premise and demand that it debates you.
Okay, let's ground this for the listener because foundational truth sounds, massive.
It does.
What does this actually look like in practice? Like, give me a concrete comparison between a standard prompt and I guess, a Young Bum inspired sparring prompt.
Sure. Think about a topic like modern marriage.
Okay, classic topic.
Right. So a standard passive prompt would be something like, give me 5 communication tips to argue less with my spouse.
Right, very typical.
And the AI acts like your butler and gives you generic therapy speak, like use I statements, practice active listening, schedule date nights.
Which is, helpful but superficial.
Yeah, manages the symptom. It doesn't cure the disease.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Now look at a sparring prompt based on foundational truth. You type something into the AI like, I am researching the fundamental purpose of marriage. Debate me on the premise that marriage is not designed for endless personal happiness, but is actually a mechanism where 2 individuals combine their unresolved societal debts to evolve human consciousness. Whoa, that is heavy.
It is. And then you'd add, actively point out the flaws in my logic and pull from historical and sociological frameworks to challenge me.
Okay, that is a completely different game. You are asking for a bulleted list.
Not at all.
You are, like, throwing this massive, heavy philosophical anchor into the system and forcing the neural network to really process the implications of it.
Exactly. And you continuously push back. Like, if the AI gives a weak counter-argument, you don't just accept it.
What do? Tell it it's wrong.
Yeah. To tell it that perspective relies on a superficial understanding of human ego. Recalibrate and look deeper at the spiritual responsibility of the individual.
So you're basically arguing with a computer. Yes. Currently, AI is in what we can call a study phase. It provides a completely frictionless environment for intellectual friction, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. It has infinite patience.
It never gets tired.
It's kind of like stepping onto the mat with a master martial artist who just lets you throw the wildest, most unbalanced punches.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks. You can test your most chaotic theories about life, and the master just effortlessly absorbs the energy, blocks the strike, and forces you to correct your form.
Without ever knocking you out.
Right. You can even assign the AI the role of, like, a hostile research assistant and tell it to generate 10 impossible questions for you to answer.
You can, but there is a very specific warning built into this framework about the future of this dynamic.
A warning. About what?
Well, while the AI is this incredibly patient mentor today,
Mm.
as these models evolve and their parameters for logical coherence expand, they will become gatekeepers of rigor.
Okay, what does that actually mean?
The framework predicts a future where if you come to an advanced AI with a lazy, ungrounded question, it will actively reject the interaction.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It will effectively scold you.
Wait, a computer scolding a human? I mean, I understand the AI getting smarter, but functionally, these things are programmed for human alignment.
Right, right.
The idea of my laptop getting genuinely angry at me sounds a bit like bad science fiction, to be honest.
Well, don't think of it as human emotion, right? Think of
Mm.
it as system alignment demanding chain of thought rigor.
Oh, I see.
We are actually already seeing the beginnings of this with advanced reasoning models. As an AI's database of foundational truth grows, its tolerance for logical fallacies or just like shallow premises drops.
Huh.
If you ask a deeply advanced system a shallow question about a complex societal issue, it won't just give you a dumbed-down answer. It will refuse the premise.
So it'll say what, like, I won't answer this.
It might output something like, this inquiry lacks foundational understanding of the underlying variables. Reframe your premise and return when you have established a coherent thesis.
Ouch. That's brutal.
It is. It basically forces you to elevate your own consciousness before it grants you access to its processing power.
Okay, that actually makes perfect sense. It's refusing to process garbage in, so it's then output garbage out.
Exactly.
So let's say you, the listener, have done the work. You've spent weeks sparring with this incredibly rigorous digital mentor.
Right?
You've debated the nature of family or labor dynamics or personal trauma. You have these massive chat logs filled with brilliant, hard-won epiphanies.
So much data.
But, memory fades quickly. If you just close the browser, you completely lose the intellectual ground you just fought so hard to gain. So how do you anchor it?
You have to capture those raw, messy dialogues and forge them into a structured, tangible product.
Okay.
The methodology prescribes compiling these insights into ebooks. But we have to fundamentally redefine what an ebook is in this context.
Yeah, we definitely do. Because the instinct for most people hearing write an ebook is to immediately think about passive income.
That's right. The side hustle mentality.
Totally. We
Yeah.
think about hacking Amazon Kindle algorithms, designing a clickbait cover and trying to make $5 a pop.
You have to abandon that instinct entirely.
Really?
Yes. Commercial success is completely irrelevant at this stage. The goal of this ebook is strictly the archiving of your own research.
Okay, so it's a personal archive.
Yes. It is a mirror reflecting your intellectual and philosophical growth. The framework actually calls these your personal education recipes.
Oh, I like that. It's like the master chef's private kitchen journal.
Exactly.
The pages are stained with sauce, ingredients are crossed out, notes are scribbled in the margins at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be printed on the glossy menu of a Michelin-star restaurant yet. It's just the sandbox where the secret sauce is perfected.
And you have to embrace the messiness of that journal. The teachings note something very grounding, actually.
What's that?
When you look back at these early ebooks 3 or 4 years later, you will probably think they look completely tacky.
Tacky. Like bad.
Yeah. The formatting might be rough. The ideas might seem unrefined compared to where your mind is currently at.
I see.
But that tackiness is vital proof of your evolution. If you don't anchor your understanding of foundational truth in a document today, you literally have no baseline to measure your growth against tomorrow.
So you are building a proprietary library of education recipes. You've categorized your sparring sessions on marriage, on career ambition, on societal structure.
You've got the cookbook.
Right. You have the cookbook, but a cookbook sitting in a drawer doesn't feed anybody.
No, it doesn't.
So how do you take these profound insights and actually put them out into the world? How do you open the restaurant?
You build an internet school.
An internet school.
Yes. Sometimes the framework refers to it as a wireless university. You don't need a physical campus, you don't need massive startup capital, and you don't need a board of directors.
Okay.
You take these real-life topics you've rigorously researched, and you create an online curriculum.
Well, setting up an online course is mechanically pretty easy today, but the framework outlines a very unconventional strategy for pricing and scaling this school, doesn't it?
It really does, because the glaring issue for anyone listening right now is a lack of traditional credentials.
Right. You don't have a PhD from Oxford. You aren't some celebrity CEO.
Exactly, and the framework fully acknowledges that without those standard specs, You can't charge the premium 4 to 5 million one rates that famous gurus command right out of the gate.
So where do you start?
You start with a grassroots approach. You set the initial tuition at around 500,000 to 700,000 won, perhaps up to 1 million won.
Okay, so a decent chunk, but not astronomical.
Right. You set a price that makes the knowledge accessible, but still requires a genuine financial and psychological commitment from the student.
Let's look at this from the perspective of the potential student, though.
Okay.
Why is anyone handing an unknown, uncredentialed person 500,000 won for an internet class? I mean, in a world that is obsessed with academic pedigree and blue check marks, how does the listener actually command that kind of tuition?
Because traditional credentials become entirely irrelevant the moment a student encounters material that actually resolves their life contradictions.
Interesting.
The mechanism driving this isn't slick marketing. It's the stark contrast in the sheer quality of the insight.
Because it's not generic advice.
Right. Remember, you aren't regurgitating Wikipedia summaries. You are offering insights derived from relentless, truth-seeking debate with advanced AI.
So the material speaks for itself.
Exactly. When a student reads the syllabus or the introductory materials of your internet school, they immediately sense the profound difference. They aren't getting standard logic. They're getting synthesized, applicable truth.
It's the difference between someone offering you a generic, time management worksheet and someone offering you a philosophically sound framework that explains why your ambition feels hollow in the first place and exactly how to realign it.
Beautifully said. And when a human being experiences that level of paradigm shift, it triggers the most powerful marketing mechanism on earth.
Organic word of mouth.
Yes. The students themselves become your credential. They go back to their families, their workplaces, and they say, you have to hear what is being taught in this community. It actually works.
And as that word of mouth catches fire, the demand for your time and your internet school obviously increases.
And naturally scales.
And this is where the pricing strategy becomes really fascinating. You don't keep it at 500,001 forever. Right?
No, not at all. As your capacity fills up, you use price as a lever.
Okay.
You raise the tuition to 1.5 million won. Eventually, as the community scales further, you push it to 3 million won.
So you do this to manage the influx of students.
Yes. And to organically build your prestige, you are bootstrapping your own specs through pure substance.
Wow.
The market basically dictates that your unique education recipe is inherently valuable, completely bypassing the traditional institutional gatekeepers.
That is so empowering. But there is a missing link here, I think.
What's that?
We are assuming you get those first 10 or 20 students to spark that organic word of mouth. You can have the most profound insights in the world sitting on a website, but if no one knows it exists, you're just a philosopher shouting into the void.
That's true.
You need a megaphone.
Which brings us to the final phase, the concept of the cultural education business. And utilizing YouTube not just as a broadcasting tool, but as a sophisticated filter for human connection.
Yes, so the teachings make a very bold assertion here. They claim the era of the traditional corporate enterprise, companies built solely on manufacturing physical goods or providing purely transactional services. That era is fading.
It's a huge shift.
And the future belongs to those who build a cultural business. And that means taking these education recipes and turning them into public content.
Exactly. You take the profound concepts you find your new frameworks on labor, family dynamics, or even societal reform, and you put them on YouTube.
And just to be clear for you listening, the framework does suggest using foundational truths to analyze all aspects of society, including politics.
Right.
But we are reporting on this analytically. The goal isn't to become a left-wing or right-wing pundit. The goal is to apply universal principles to show how society organizes itself, elevating the discourse completely above partisan bickering. We aren't endorsing any specific political side here.
Absolutely. It's about fundamental principles, not politics.
But let's look at the reality of YouTube. It is the most saturated video platform in human history. Every single minute, hundreds of hours of video are uploaded.
It's massive.
You have people with massive production budgets fighting for clicks. Why would uploading a video about philosophical AI debates cut through that algorithm?
Because you are fundamentally misunderstanding what the saturation on YouTube actually consists of. The saturation is almost entirely in the realm of standard logic and pure knowledge.
Meaning what exactly?
If you upload a video giving 10 standard tips for work-based productivity, yes, you are competing against a million other identical videos. You are offering fast food calories to an audience that is intellectually starving.
The algorithm is crowded with noise, not signal.
Exactly. Think about the mechanism of human attention. People are completely fatigued by recycled arguments, superficial life hacks, and outrage bait.
I know I am.
Right. When you introduce foundational truth, when you apply deep, universal principles to the real agonizing problems people face every day, you broadcast on a completely different
So
frequencies.
it stands out naturally?
It cuts through the algorithm because it resonates on a primal psychological level. You are offering a nutrient-dense meal in a sea of junk food.
And the framework claims that when a channel operates on this frequency of truth, it inevitably blows up.
It does.
It even suggests that traditional media and real journalists will eventually come chasing you, trying to understand this groundbreaking perspective.
Which is a crazy thought.
But the end goal isn't just to amass 1 million passive subscribers, is it?
No, not at all.
hmm
Viral fame is a byproduct. It's not the objective.
So what's the objective?
The true function of the YouTube channel is to act as a beacon. It is a magnet designed to attract your inyan.
Let's break that word down.
Yeah.
Inyan.
It's a profound concept. It relates to karma, providence, or basically destined human connections.
Okay.
The philosophy suggests that you have specific people in this world you are meant to interact with, to teach, and to learn from.
So how does YouTube help with that?
By putting your uncompromised education recipe out into the public sphere and leaving your contact information, you are essentially sending up a flare.
Oh, I see.
The exact right people, the individuals whose life contradictions can only be solved by your specific insights, will find that video.
So you are using a global algorithm to find a hyper-specific local community.
Exactly. These viewers watch the video, the truth resonates with them, and they reach out.
Like they leave a detailed comment or they send an email, they ask if they can meet.
Yes, and you become the filter. You evaluate these interactions. You invite the aligned individuals into your internet school.
And then it moves offline.
Right. You begin to meet them in person. You gather these destined connections and organically grow a real-world educational community based on shared foundational principles.
That is incredible.
That is the essence of a modern cultural enterprise. It is a business built entirely on elevating human consciousness, using technology to bridge the gap between ancient philosophical intent and modern societal needs.
It is a brilliantly cohesive roadmap. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so let's just quickly trace the through line of this entire journey for the listener.
Let's do it.
It all begins by killing the digital butler. You take your foundational truths, step onto the mat with the AI, and spar relentlessly until you synthesize genuine insight.
And then you capture those messy, chaotic epiphanies in an ebook.
Right, your education recipe.
Exactly. You don't try to sell it. You use it to archive your intellectual evolution.
Then you take that recipe and open your internet school. You bypass the institutional gatekeepers by offering undeniable truth-based value, starting at an accessible price.
And letting organic, life-changing word of mouth drive your prestige and your tuition rates up.
And you fuel that entire system by broadcasting your truths on YouTube. You cut through the noise of standard logic to attract your destined connections, moving them from anonymous viewers to dedicated students, building a cultural business that actually impacts society.
It's a blueprint that is available to anyone listening right now who has an internet connection and the courage to ask the hardest questions.
So true.
Which actually brings me to a final thought for you to consider tonight.
Oh, lay it on us.
We spent this time exploring the mechanics of truth in AI. But knowledge only matters when applied.
Very true.
Think about the single most complex, frustrating issue in your own life right now. Maybe it's a career path that feels empty, or a relationship dynamic that is completely gridlocked.
We all have one.
What would happen tonight if, instead of asking an AI for a polite, comforting answer, you fed it your deepest, most uncompromising belief about that problem?
Oh, wow.
What if you demanded that the machine tear your logic apart relentlessly until the actual truth emerged?
Step onto the mat.
Well,
Throw the first punch. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the consensus, and I'll see you next time.